Hello, hello.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Oh my God.
Now listen, you were there in real life, real person, the first one, and before then. And I think I would be remiss, as much as you've been so helpful in my life. Again, even traveling to Haiti to see you, like literally, and you probably were one of the first people to meet my wife in my circle of friends because she didn't
Yeah.
even have a visa. So this my cleaners literally supported me when I was a dead, busted cleaner guy. You've always been amazing. I know I've had my ups and downs on this road, but you've definitely been a phoenix in the sun type thing. Thank you so much. And I think it's hard to kind of come to grips with some of the things that you do bring to the table because they're so obfuscated by media, so obfuscated by headlines that many people don't even understand what's behind the headlines. I would be remiss and probably disrespectful. I know there's things going on, particularly in our diaspora of Black people in Haiti. Again, I know you only got a short time to speak, but we definitely want you to share some of the things because there's a lot of fugazi folks, fake Red Crosses. Again, I'm not putting words in your mouth. There's a lot of people who exploit our pain, who use it to do some other things that are no good. And I think the intersection of technology and politics, these are all tools. None of these things are going to save us. We got to save ourselves. I think you embody what's possible in both, and having a knowledge of both, it makes you a multiple threat. I don't know what kind of, don't threaten me, right? Look, I know if I get out of hand. But my point is literally something that's very difficult for people to appreciate because sometimes people watch CNN and then next thing you know, they're political experts, or somebody see a podcast, now they know everything. And I think, well, anyway, I'm starting to ramble, but please, I just want to welcome and have everybody who's listening welcome someone who's definitely fighting in our corner when we don't even know it. I don't know if she's a cut woman or she's a gladiator in the ring, but she's swinging and making sure we got our Vaseline on our faces. With that being said, I want to introduce my sister, your sister, our sister, the good sister, Cleve Mesidor. Cleve Mesidor. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Sinclair, for that awesome introduction. I'm excited about this summit and this conversation. For those of you watching virtually, I hope you're enjoying the day 2 of the Black Blockchain Summit. I know Living Singles Erica Alexander delivered a powerful speech, so I hope you enjoyed that. As Sinclair said, I'm Cleve Mesidor. I lead the National Policy Network of Women of Color in Blockchain. We are thrilled to be a partner of the conference this year. I want to commend summit organizers Sinclair Skinner and John Koanja for their leadership and for assembling such a dynamic group of crypto industry leaders. I am disappointed we could not gather in person in DC at my alma mater, Howard University, HU. But because of COVID, we had to be fully virtual. But shout out to the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Network. They also gathered a few in-person events for those of us who are in DC, so thanks for that. Before I get started, I have a shameless plug. My book, The Clevolution, My Quest for Justice in Politics and Crypto, is available at Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, Amazon, and other retailers. I'm excited about the topic today. We're going to talk about regulatory policy priorities to empower Black innovators and foster an inclusive crypto economy. I work at the intersection of blockchain and public policy. I'm an advisor to the Blockchain Association. I also serve on DC Mayor Muriel Bowser's Innovation and Technology Inclusion Council. And I know you heard from some members of her administration during the summit. I have deep roots in Washington. I previously served as an Obama presidential appointee, a senior staffer in Congress, and in the leadership of national political campaigns. I also live near a police station and a fire station, so forgive the noise. At the core of my message today is this: Black, Latinx, Asian, LGBTQ leaders, entrepreneurs, startup founders must have a say in crafting crypto's federal policy and regulatory framework. This week, I joined 3 leaders who are also speakers at this summit for a meeting with staff at the House Financial Services Committee. And we delivered this very message. Guapcoin's Tavonia Evans, Deirdre McIntyre of Black People and Cryptocurrency, you just heard from her, and DeFi founder Jomari Peterson, we all highlighted that it is Black and brown software and hardware developers, miners, and stakers who will suffer the consequences of the cryptocurrency tax provision that is in the infrastructure bill that the House is slated to vote on in the coming week. At the end of the day, we are in Congress's blind spot. Consumer protection has become the justification for levying strict rules and holding the large players accountable when it comes to crypto. Yet, this seems at the expense of micro enterprises, the very ones that are fueling the crypto marketplace. Let's face it, the large players have the lawyers and the big bucks to survive and thrive. But it is Black and brown entrepreneurs who will end up paying the price and end up empty-handed. We saw this play out with the PPP loans last year. They were supposed to go to independent contractors, entrepreneurs, mom and pops, but those funds were quickly snatched up by corporations and wealthy businesses. And when Congress tried to tighten the rules, Black and brown businesses were further pushed out. Protectionism has rarely benefited the most vulnerable. Look at what's occurred globally. Stringent regulations without intentional considerations and safeguards for micro enterprises will continue to yield the same results. The rich will get richer. Crypto is in its infancy, and Washington wants to write the rules of the road. But they also have to listen to diverse voices in crypto, and there must be seats at their table for us, not just the wealthy crypto executives. Lack of inclusion in the policymaking process has further exacerbated the wealth gap, and also the social inequities that keep us locked out. When big executives have meetings on Capitol Hill, the red carpet is rolled out. Staffers line up to attend. This is not always the case for Black crypto leaders who have to jump through hoops to secure a meeting. Quite frankly, I don't think they see us. I don't believe they listen to us. And I'm talking about both Democrats and Republicans in Congress. They are so laser focused on the Goliaths, they ignore the Davids. Even when we get a meeting, they stay focused on the issues dealing with the Goliaths. They use our time to get our insights about how to address the Goliaths. I want to scream, your quarrel is not with us. Give us our time. We want equal time. I feel a unique message about strategies to advance economic empowerment is being eclipsed. They are having the conversation about financial inclusion with the wrong stakeholders. I don't even think some of them know that's in fact what they are doing. So we have to fight and scream to be heard. We have to do whatever it takes to ensure regulatory policy is not a tool to ensure the future of money reflects the same rules of the past, the same rules that make it impossible for crypto enterprises by Black entrepreneurs to get locked out of the marketplace. Last month, Senate Banking Committee Ranking Member Pat Toomey put out a request for ideas and legislative proposals for federal laws to support the development of emerging cryptocurrency and open blockchain networks. Yesterday, 12 blockchain leaders, including St. Clair Skinner, submitted a package of proposals to the Senate Banking Committee. Our letter will go into the official record. We asked for a meeting with committee staff to discuss the recommendations that we outlined, and we also stressed the importance of removing barriers to ensure Black, Latinx, Asian, LGBTQ blockchain industry leaders have access to the policymaking process. Too much is at stake for us to be forced to stand on the sidelines. I was encouraged recently when One United Bank, America's largest Black-owned bank, published a post to highlight the work innovators of color in crypto are doing. They spotlighted 3 of us as part of the Black Crypto League. I was honored to be featured along with Bitcoin and Black America author Isaiah Jackson, who you heard from earlier, Black people in crypto's DJ McIntyre. Both of them have spoken during the conference. Last week I had a call with One United President Terry Williams. She is a visionary Black woman, and she understands the urgency for digital equity. And she wants to empower Black innovators and social justice advocates to disrupt the status quo and strengthen our communities. She shared that when she was coming up, she would hear folks say their ice is colder when they're comparing Black products and services with white ones. Today, she publicly proclaims that her bank is unapologetically Black. She was among the first, the bank was among the first to support the early Black Lives Matter movement years before it became popular. Those of us in crypto today, Black and brown innovators, we are pioneers. So we have a mandate, a burden of sorts. We must break ceilings and kick down doors. The barriers of Democrats and progressives in Congress, the barriers of conservatives and Republicans in Congress. That is the only way we can forge a path, create a pipeline so that Black, Latinx, Asian, LGBTQ people are producers, not just consumers in the crypto economy. Demographics of the US marketplace is more diverse than ever. Innovators of color are fueling the growing blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. Although we are omitted from the headlines, we continue to drive the NFT boom, the growth of DeFi, and mainstream consumer adoption. I discussed this this week during an NPR segment about how crypto is going mainstream. It was on the show of Disrupted, hosted by Dr. Kalila Brown-Dean. She highlighted a recent Harris poll that shows that Black, Latinx, Asian individuals are leading the nation in adoption and are looking to crypto as an alternative to the traditional financial system. A USA Today article about the poll noted that while only 11% of white Americans report owning cryptos, 23% of Black Americans and 17% of Hispanic Americans own such assets. Awareness of crypto, they continued, is also much higher among people of color. Half of Black Americans, half of Asian Americans, and 49% of Hispanic Americans say they are familiar with it versus 37% of white Americans. So that illustrates we are leveraging this technology. It also illustrates that we need consumer protections, but we have to do that in an equitable manner that does not push Black people out of crypto. Blockchain companies with billion-dollar valuations have made inroads, important inroads, but it is micro enterprises led by innovators of color that are building the products and services to dismantle the long-standing economic inequities here in America. There is no question that blockchain's borderless nature has paved the way for a myriad of products to help the 1.7 billion adults across the globe who are unbanked or underbanked. But the impact to the 55 million in the US has not been as robust. Black, Latinx, Asian, LGBTQ entrepreneurs and startup founders are filling this gap and jumpstarting the cryptocurrency marketplace. Yet we are largely absent from the Washington policy debate. As I've said, we are uniquely positioned to advise Congress about issues like financial literacy, consumer protections, workforce training, access to capital for micro enterprises, and closing the digital divide with digital infrastructure. These are top priorities for mainstream Americans. But Washington needs to expand access and broaden the public policy conversation. Too often, it is old data sets, old rules, old standards, which are not inclusive, that inform decisions. We need new legislation to redirect funding to where it has been absent, to help rewrite the rules of engagement and level the playing field in order to truly build an open and inclusive economic future. The House, let's face it, right? In the US House, CBC members are engaged, but they are cool to crypto and they have concerns. That's why they need to hear from us. Congresswoman Maxine Waters chairs the House Financial Services Committee. This is perhaps the most influential committee in Congress when it comes to crypto, along with the Senate Banking Committee. Now, the Senate Banking Committee includes 2 Black senators on opposite sides of the spectrum. Republican Senator Tim Scott has been positive about crypto. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is focused on empowering entrepreneurs and small businesses. Shifting back to the House, Congresswoman Yvette Plaskett, who you will hear from later today, is a crypto champion in Congress. She was the first CBC member and the first female member of Congress to join the Congressional Blockchain Caucus. Now, we know the squad, they're powerful. They have dug in on this issue. They have largely focused on the big players and are definitely pushing back. Representatives Alma Adams, Emmanuel Cleaver, Al Green, and others are leading policy conversations. So we need to be in their offices having conversations with their staff. Now, I'm doing my part. As an advisor to the Blockchain Association, I help them to advance comprehensive diversity, equity, inclusion strategies that can actually help to foster greater inclusion. To commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month, which is right now, they hosted the Blockchain panel during this week's Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute conference. And I was a speaker last week or 2 weeks ago during the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's annual leadership conference. And I spoke on a panel about generational wealth creation, which included Congresswoman Nakema Williams, who's focused on economic opportunity. This month, the Blockchain Association also collaborated with the Embassy of Haiti in DC to host a blockchain symposium to shift focus to digital infrastructure as part of Haiti's rebuilding process. Now, while we're on the topic of my homeland, and Sinclair mentioned it earlier, I have a message for the Biden administration. There is absolutely no justification for your action to ship Haitians back to where they were fleeing from. They were fleeing from the 2010 earthquake, 12 years ago, when the US had $13 billion and squandered it to help them. So the same way people who were looking for help, you decided to ship them all back. People don't just disappear. Thank you for clearing the bridge. Great photo op. But Haiti was just hit by the devastation of the assassination of their president. Recently, this devastating earthquake took us further backwards, and nature followed that up by a tropical storm. To say I am disappointed in this administration is an understatement. But there's something that the administration can do. The Biden administration can appoint a Haitian American to be the US ambassador to Haiti. This is critical. A Haitian American has never been the US ambassador to Haiti. There's always been this excuse that it should come from the ranks of the State Department. But what we saw in the previous administration, I won't even name them, the previous administration actually pulled from the ranks of the State Department and appointed a woman of color. I dare the Biden administration not to appoint a person of color to be US ambassador to Haiti. And because of what we just saw, it should not be someone from the State Department ranks who will co-sign and rubber stamp whatever the Biden administration wants. We need the Biden administration to appoint a US ambassador to Haiti who is Haitian American, and it should be a political appointment. We've come too far. We need to make sure that this administration is uncomfortable when it comes to Haiti, when it comes to my homeland. Enough with these policies. Immigration, we're criminalizing immigration, and it has to stop. Shifting back to crypto, as I wrap up, I want to share a save the date. Since 2019, I have organized a congressional briefing of women of color and blockchain in the nation's capital. We will again be hosting this in person next March. So save the date, March 2022. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter for updates. Thank you, St. Clair, John, and the whole team for organizing a wonderful conference and for having me on. And to the virtual audience, I hope you found this conversation useful. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of the summit.